Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have some pretty breaking news in the world of Palantir, and I'm excited to get into it. We've had some breaking news over the past couple of days, which is why I started dailypalantir.com, because I'm like, there's a lot of breaking news every day. Someone has to be able to report this. I'm going to give my official reaction today to the CODESTRAP announcement. I don't know if you guys have seen this. He came on the Weekly in Review podcast with me, Sachin, and Chris, and made his announcement. And I did an article about it on my website, dailypalantir.com. And the title was Palantir signs a YouTuber to help explain their software to the masses. Palantir has officially assigned a contract with CODESTRAP to make a new series, a new content series called Foundry in Action, or Foundry Live in Action. And the whole goal of this content series is for CODESTRAP to make a couple of videos, maybe a week, maybe one a week, where he's doing like an app. He's building an app in Foundry. He's coding an app. He's explaining how Foundry works. And it's part of their initiative to grow the developer community. We've seen over the past couple of weeks that Foundry for developers has gone a lot stronger. As you can see, they have been putting out more and more videos on this platform. Well, let me go to the actual channel. Palantir for developers. Oh, I believe it's Palantir for developers. CODESTRAP is obviously a developer, right? And he's one of the best developers that I personally know in this field. Palantir has been ramping up the videos. They've been putting out more and more over the past couple of weeks. Over the past month, they've already put out, I think, what is this? 3 times 6, 12 videos. The past 2 weeks, they put out 4 or 5 more videos. So they're ramping up the amount of content they're actually putting out around the developer community. This deal with CODESTRAP and the reason they did this deal with CODESTRAP was because he's been working with Foundry for Builders for a while. They have a good relationship with him, and they know he's able to communicate the hard technical problems that Palantir has to face in terms of the public perception of their product, and able to make it a lot more simpler for people to understand. And obviously, they want to get more content distribution, because the more people that see their stuff and know their stuff, the better chance they have to win. So I wrote this article. This article did pretty cool. I mean, on a brand new website, this article got 5,000 views. That means 5,000 people actually saw this article and read through it, which is pretty awesome on a website that's not even a week old. We're going to watch the clip in which he talks about what he's done, and it's some really cool stuff. So let's check this out. This is a 4-minute clip, and I'll give my reaction to it on the back end. Let's put it here, because I'm probably in the corner, and I'll do this. Here we go. All right, here's the question. CODESTRAP, you've been saying you have an announcement today around Palantir. Floor is yours. What do you have to announce?
All right, so we've been talking about building this developer community and like getting this off the ground for a little while. And today I finalized the paperwork with Palantir, and I'm going to have complete access to a Foundry environment. I'm going to get to demo all these potential apps I've been wanting to build on Foundry on the channel through this Foundry in Action series. And it's in collaboration with Palantir. Yeah, and I'm like, my first one I want to build is this custom React application built on top of a federated data kind of silo thing that we've been working on. And I'm learning so much about the platform, by the way. Like, I've been working with them pretty closely, and like, so they've been teaching me a lot about how to apply a lot of the things I want to, or how to build the things that I want to build on there. But it's going to blow your minds. And it's like a true AWS replacement, by the way. Like, I don't ever have to think about AWS, GCP, Azure ever again to build all the apps I want to build, which is really cool. So yeah, Foundry in Action. It's going to happen. It's starting next week. I'm going to start recording. And yeah, so you guys are going to get to see Foundry live. You're going to get to see real apps being built on it. You're going to learn all about it. I'm going to have a curriculum. So if you want to study more about Foundry, I'll show you where to study more about it.
Dude,
we're going to build this developer community right here. The time's now.
That is so
dude.
Awesome.
It's on.
We're doing this, baby. We're doing it.
This was dope. This was so dope. So let's read through what he said again, because I don't know if you guys caught that. He says, you know that we've been talking about building this developer community and like getting it off the ground for a little while. Today I finalized the paperwork with Palantir, and I'm going to have complete access to a Foundry environment and get to demo all these potential apps, meaning he's going to have Foundry software on his laptop running, and I'm pretty sure he's been working with it for a while already. And he's going to be able to record that stuff live by getting the clearance through Palantir. They have to review every video, so they have to make sure it's all clear to go, but like, it's an official partnership. And he says, the part that blew my mind, but I think it's going to blow your minds, and it's a true AWS replacement. By the way, I don't think I'll ever have to think about AWS, GCP, Azure ever again to build all the apps I want to build, which is really cool. That part kind of blew my mind, which is why the next headline was, did you read that correctly? See, as a journalist, I'm like, did you read that correctly? So what are my takes on this? First of all, if you want to see the full podcast where we go really in depth and we try to ask him, what do you mean by replacing AWS? Like, can you explain that a little bit more? I'll probably link that in the description. We did that on Chris Patel's channel, so you can check that out. And we like really kind of grilled him on like, can you like go deeper on this? But he's going to go deeper over the next couple of months with the content that he's putting out, trying to explain this stuff more in depth. And I will be covering all that stuff on the website as well. So that's really interesting. And I think he does a good explanation. Essentially, what I got from that podcast was a lot of the microservices that AWS like has that are all built into AWS that are pretty standardized. A lot of that's automated away by Foundry. Now, developers sometimes like that because that's one thing that does everything, but a lot of times developers also don't like that because they want to have a bunch of different products and microservices. And like he was basically saying, like Foundry replaces 40 different SaaS protocols that you need. And some developers want to be able to exchange them in and out. And some developers don't really want to only depend on one thing, because if that one thing goes to crap, then they might lose their project. So like there is a little bit of a mix here. And I think we're going to work through like what this ultimately means. But his argument is just like this ontology layer that Palantir is creating that we keep talking about. This idea that your entire data stack, your entire tech stack can happen in one place removes the need for an AWS or for a cloud compute provider or for any of these microservices that are going on in the back end, because all of that's done by Foundry. That's sort of the nuts and bolts of what his argument was. And he's going to be showing that over the next couple of weeks through this Foundry in developers type of content course. Now, couple reasons why I think this is relevant. Number one, we need to grow the Palantir developer community. We talked about this back in December, or back in January, where we were like, hey, if developers become the greatest evangelists for the product, that means that the product has a better chance to succeed. Why? Because if developers are in their company saying, hey, we had a mix with Palantir, other developer friends are using Palantir, we know Palantir, we're on, all these forums and blogs all day talking about Palantir, it's a game changer, it works, it's going to make us more effective, more efficient, going to help the company save more money. They are going to be the greatest ones advocating for their technology companies to implement Palantir Foundry, right? To actually be able to get Foundry to be inside of the organization. So that's very important. Number two is that this is actually good for content development, because if the developer community grows, that's going to be good for sales for Palantir, because you're going to have developers become evangelists that are trying to get the product into the organization. They're going to be advocates for it. But in terms of content distribution, if Palantir is able to get mainstream sort of like adoption of, or mainstream awareness of the product and get more and more people tuning in, right? When I write articles about it, when CodeStrap makes videos about it, when more and more people just understand what the platform actually does, well, that's the name of the game, right? Content is king. If you don't have content around your product, people are not going to know about your product. People are not going to know what your product does. And I think this deal with CodeStrap sort of elevates the necessity for Palantir to recognize, wait, we need to have innovative and unique content by storytellers that can effectively communicate what's going on in order for that content to reach the masses. Even if these videos get a couple thousand views, they don't need a million views, right? Palantir is a very niche product, but if those couple thousand views are from developers, are from people that are using Google, AWS, and they have issues with them and they want to find something new, the quality of those views is so vital and so important, which is why I think they ultimately made this deal with CodeStrap. Final piece of analysis I'll give on this here is, they're going through the retail community. That was the tweet I had around Palantir when this came out. I'll see if I can pull it up in a little bit. But that was sort of the biggest thing, is like Palantir is not going through like PRs and press releases to actually get this out. They are going through the retail community. Now, why is it relevant to go through the retail community? Because going through the retail community means that you have an actual shot of getting retail to like your product, right? To get people to care about your product. It's an interesting dynamic of them going through the retail community versus another community. Let's go to it right here. This was the tweet I put out. Last night, we had a pretty crazy announcement. It's time for retail community to finally understand Palantir software, and Palantir is going through retail community, not press releases, to get everyone to understand. I'm a Mitt is investing on Twitter. If you ever want to retweet the articles to help share them or support them, definitely follow me on Twitter, if anything, just to retweet the articles, because it helps with getting awareness on them. So this was sort of my tagline, right? That Palantir is going through the retail community, signing a YouTuber, right? Not signing some professional media studio to like make such a googly nice video. It's like, nope, they're going through CodeStrap, who, to be honest, doesn't have the best webcam in the world. And he's just like putting out his videos and he's putting them out to the masses. I think it's a great initiative. I think it's phenomenal. I think this shows that there's going to be more potential for Palantir to just be able to penetrate different markets. It helps that Palantir is at $13.14 today. So we broke through 13. We're up 5%. Not bad. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's a great initiative. I think it's going to get more people to understand it. I'm going to have more content to be able to write on the article to talk about on this channel. And I think that more and more people are going to get to understand the software. I think the final thing I'll say is the software is still very esoteric, right? People don't know what the software does. And because people don't know what the software does or what it feels like or what does it mean to touch it or what the heck an ontology layer is, if you're not the most technical person in the world, how are you going to advocate, $10,000 of your portfolio to Palantir just on the assumption that, oh, they have meaningful software? It's like, but you've never seen the software. And if you've never seen the software, it's hard. Like if I've seen a Tesla car, I drove in a Tesla car this weekend for the first time. I know I'm late. I wanted to buy more Tesla stock, right? You buy your iPhone, you're like, well, this iPhone's really useful. It's useful to billions of other people. I want to buy Apple stock. If you never know what the product looks like, especially if it's in B2B enterprise, you just feel a little bit detached from it unless you have an emotional connection with the actual philosophy or mission of the company, which is something that I do. So, or you've done a ton of deep digging. And for the people that haven't done that, I think this initiative of content is going to help them understand what Palantir is. So when they're interested in Palantir and they search for it and they actually find content that covers what the product does, I think they'll have a better chance of actually caring about the product long term. So those are my thoughts. Big shout out to CODESTRAP. Thank you for creating this initiative. It's going to be fun over the next couple of weeks to see it evolve, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, subscribe to dailypalantir.com. We give you a newsletter every Thursday on the hottest Palantir news. We already have around 350 subscribers. Awesome stuff. And I think you guys will enjoy the updates over time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. Looking forward to your comments. I'll see you in the next one.